Okay, we're back. Our 10 minutes are up. Notice I didn't use a timer for that. There was nothing cooking in the oven, so it didn't really matter if we were 100% exact or not. You can see that I brought out my stock pot. You don't need a stock pot to do this. You can have any big pot that you can put the vegetables in, or your beef bones or chicken bones, and cover it with water and bring it to a boil. That's the main part of stock. There are some people that will tell you that you can roast your chicken bones and your beef bones before you put them in a stock. That's really up to you. Some people will argue that once you roast your bones, you've taken the flavor out of them. So you can try it either way, see what you want, see what you like. Again, the whole point of this blog and website is to let you be experimental and find out what you like and what you don't like and give things a try and feel comfortable giving things a try. So we're going to take our vegetables and put them into our stock pot. You notice I'm still using an oven mitt on the vegetables on the cookie sheet here because it's still a little bit warm, not terribly, but still warm enough since I'm going to be holding it for a while. And as I said, my wife says I'm a messy cook, so a lot of things end up on the stove, sometimes on the floor, and we are putting these in here. You probably can't see because of the camera angle, and since I have to use both hands, I can't show you really, but there's a lot of liquid down here at the bottom of our vegetables, and we want to make sure that gets put into the pot too. So let's make sure that all goes in. And again, like I said, we want to make sure it all goes in. I'm probably not having you see this at the best angle, so I'm going to turn this and do this with my other hand. I mean, there's nothing really spectacular about it. We're just putting stock and putting the vegetables into the pot and trying to do it without making a mess, especially all over the floor. We have a white kitchen floor, and it really shows all the dirt, and so we're trying not to let the floor get messy. So we have our vegetables in our stock. Camera in hand again. Here's the pot. I'll turn it a little bit so you can see all the vegetables are in here. Now, in terms of stock and in terms of cooking, my theory is that you can always add things later, but you can't take them out. But in going back through my notes from my cooking classes I took, it said to add some spices to your chicken stock. So we're going to experiment a little bit and just add some peppercorns. I have some black peppercorns here. That's all they are. The reason you want to use corns here is that one, it helps add the flavor, but two, when you end up straining your stock at the end, they will come out and not be a permanent part of the stock, so they will help flavor it. I'm just going to put in about a handful, and since one hand has the camera and one hand has the thing, we're just going to have to shake some in here. That's probably more than enough. And then we're going to add a couple of bay leaves here. So here's our bay leaves right here. And you just buy these in the store, just like you buy that in the store in the spice aisle. This is what a bay leaf looks like. So we're going to throw that in, and we're going to put in 2. And that should be plenty. Again, since they're big enough, they're going to end up getting strained out. And like I said, this is a first for me. I haven't put in any spices into my stock before, and now it's time to add the water. Okay, the pot is on the stove. You can see the water is covering the vegetables. I have my spoon here just to stir everything up, make sure everything is included in the water. You can see all the vegetables here. So we're doing pretty well. Some people tell you to use a wooden spoon because a metal spoon adds flavor to whatever it is you're cooking, but I'm cooking in a metal pot, so I don't know how true that is, but I use a big wooden spoon anyway. So we're going to turn this on. We want this to boil, so we're going to turn this on pretty high. We have a gas stove, and so we will do that. You want the gas to be all underneath the pot, not coming out of the top, but you want it to be as high as it can be. This pot, with the size that it is and the amount of water in it, probably going to take 15 to 20 minutes to boil. You want to bring it to a boil, a full boil, before you turn it down to simmer it. So we will come back and check in about 10-15 minutes to see if we're boiling yet. The one thing that you need to look for in chicken stock is you do need to pay attention, and when it does start boiling, you'll notice you get a little foam on the top of the pot, and so you're going to want to take your spoon and just gently take the foam out and end up throwing it away. Some recipes actually don't tell you to do that step, so again, it's up to you as to whether you want to do that or not. Some recipes tell you to take the foam out. It's a little bit of scum, so you might want to do that, but again, you don't have to. And just like I said, you don't have to roast your vegetables. You could have just gone straight to the step, bringing it to a boil and letting it go. And so we will now see how this progresses. Back soon. Okay, our 15 minutes have gone by, and you can see we're already making a lot of progress here, and that the stock, I should say, has started to boil. So let's just give it a stir to make sure that it really is boiling. You can tell it's boiling because it's got a lot of big bubbles coming up to the top, but when you stir it up, it slows back down again, and we'll have to see how long it takes to come back up to the boil to see if it's really boiling. And we're almost there. We're a little simmery. It's not quite a full-fledged boil yet. But I think we're boiling enough that we can turn the temperature down. Remember, we had set the temperature here at pretty high, so we're going to turn this down to kind of a medium low, like that. The little thing here is just below medium, and let this simmer. It's a good idea to come by and stir this every so often to make sure, one, that things aren't sticking to the bottom and aren't burning there, and to just make sure that everything gets cooked rather evenly in this whole thing. So I'm going to give this now an hour. This, like I said, will probably take an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then we'll be back in an hour and we'll see how far along we've come. But we made a lot of progress already, and there's just a little bit more to go. So it's been an hour, and you can see the stock is simmering away, and it still looks good. You can see the water color here, or what used to be the water now, it's actually pretty dark. It's getting dark here, but I have my little spoon over here set up for tasting, but I can tell already that it's still going to be a little thin and watery, and since that's not what we want, I don't need to taste it. Usually for me, as you can see, this pot has two rivets here in a row, so usually when I get to the second rivet here at the bottom, that's usually when it's a little bit more ready and you can start tasting. So the only way to really tell if it's done is to taste it and to try it till you like it and it meets what you want to do. So I'm going to let this keep cooking for at least half an hour, maybe another hour, maybe it's going to take another hour and a half. Like I said, the stock takes a long time, so you need to plan that through your day, but it doesn't take a lot of action. You don't need to be doing, you don't need to be hovering over it or paying a lot of attention to it, as long as you make sure it's simmering and not boiling. If it's boiling, which is when the bubbles are rapidly coming forward instead of slowly like it is now, then you could end up taking all the water out of the pot and burning your pot if you leave it on too long and not being watched. But with it simmering and this amount of water and this amount of vegetables, we're fine for letting it go. So I'm going to let it go for another half an hour. It probably won't even be ready then. It's probably, like I said, going to take another hour. Oop, there's the timer telling me that the hour has gone by and that I need to be doing this video for you all. So with that, we'll be back in half an hour to see how things are going. As you can see, the liquid level in the stock has gone down quite a bit. We're now at that second rivet. I'll hold the handle together. We stir it up a little bit. Make a little bit of some noise here. And we'll give it a little taste. Ooh, a little steam. And so we'll taste this and see what we have. And it may need a little bit more, but probably not too much. Let's see here. But it's not watery, and you want to pay attention to the taste to see if it is the way you like it. I think it's very close. I think like maybe another 10-15 minutes will do it. So we'll be back in just a little bit and check. Our 10 minutes are up and things are looking really good. Give it a quick stir here. Make sure we get everything off of the bottom. And then we'll give it a quick taste. Like I said, you can see the liquid looks a lot darker. And we'll give it a taste here. And it's tasting pretty good. Tastes like stock. So I'm going to take this off of the heat and let it sit for a little bit to cool off, and then we're just going to strain it. And we're pretty much done. And like I said, we just have that one last step to go through, and we'll have some vegetable stock that will last us for a little bit. So we'll be back soon.